I don't want the decisions I've made in my past to define me as the person I am today. I've made a few mistakes in my high school career and it has really hurt the relationships with some of the people I'm closest to. Sophomore year, when I got my license, I thought I was invincible and nothing would ever happen to me. Reality hit me in the face when I was handcuffed in the back of a cop car looking at my mom bawl her eyes out and my dad with the look of disgust on his face. The decision to get behind the wheel after a night of drinking was the worst choice I've ever made. I wasn't thinking of anyone but myself, and I wanted to impress my friends in the car with me and do what the cool thing was to do. I promised myself that I would never do anything like that again. Then comes along junior year, a year with so many opportunities that were erased by a repeated stupid decision that I made. Everybody had warned me that tonight was going to be under heavy watch and not to do anything stupid, but I just ignored them and went on with my night. Before the night was even able to start, it was already starting to end. The group that I was in to go to the dance with all decided that drinking before the dance was what they wanted to do. Even with my past experience with this similar decision, I went along with it because I didn't want to be that loser who said no and then ended up going by himself. We took my friend's excursion van and about 10 of us piled in, but when we got to the school, it all went downhill. Everyone was being really loud and bringing a lot of attention to us, and it was at that point that the police officer came out to our car. Sitting in the office with my principal, my dad, and a police officer was how most of my night was spent, knowing that I just ruined the second half of my junior year. All this was happening just because I decided I want to ignore the advice from my parents and do what everyone else was doing. The next few weeks were the worst weeks of my life, going through a week suspension, punishment with my parents, all the manual labor, and worst of all, the feeling that I know I let my parents down and things weren't going to be the same again for a long time. From then on, anytime I asked to do something or leave the house, they were always worried that I was going to do something wrong. I hated how the way things were between us. They had no trust in me, my grandparents were disappointing me, and even all my coaches were let down by me. I knew I had a lot of making up to do and a lot of relationships to repair, because it had gotten to the point that my bad decisions were affecting those around me in a negative way, and seeing those people hurt because of me was something I have never felt before and was something I never want to feel again. I had to get it through my head that I can't make stupid decisions no matter how tempting they were. If anything were to happen to me again, the consequences would be too big to handle, and I don't know if I would have too much support behind me if that happened. All of this happened to me because of two of the dumbest decisions I have ever made, just so I would fit in and be doing what the cool kids decided was. I now learn that the consequences of my actions can affect the relationships with other people around me and that I'm closest with. Following the cool thing to do isn't always the right thing to do.